Namaste. Okay, welcome. This is our Tuesday night crowdcast World Peace Meditation. So, welcome. We're going to use this time slot to begin a process of intervention. And the exact shape of it is going to unfold as we do it. So we're going to start with the technique that most of you are familiar with, the World Peace Meditation, Sri Atmananda's guidelines. We'll listen to him doing the chanting. We'll do the technique. I will go over it when I get to that point for those who might be coming in for the first time. And then we'll meditate. But before we do that, I wanted to talk a little bit about why we're doing this. And this has something to do with the peril and the purpose of our work. And the recognition that we very well may be at the end of the era of the human race without some kind of intervention that could bring about some at least mitigation of that possibility. And it's still a possibility, but there are some alarming evidence that is becoming more and more real for most of us as the planet continues to respond to the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. But I had, were you able to get a segment? So there was one little bright light in all of this, and that was Greta Thunberg. And Greta has a 16-year-old girl who sat in front of the Senate Parliament. And when given the opportunity to speak, it was clear that was coming through her was like a call to mankind and to those especially in power and influence to wake up. And so I've asked Tom to set aside a segment which we can listen to and I perhaps even watch. Is that correct? Of Greta sharing what was this situation?
She's speaking to the EU leaders.
Okay, very good. So it'll be about a five or 7 minute section. Yeah. Okay, let us roll them.
I want you to act as if the house was on fire. I have said those words before, and a lot of people has explained why that is a bad idea. A great number of politicians have told me that panic never leads to anything good. And I agree. To panic unless you have to is a terrible idea. But when your house is on fire and you want to keep your house from burning to the ground, then that does require some level of panic. We are in the midst of the 6th mass extinction, and the extinction rate is up to 10,000 times faster than what is considered normal, with up to 200 species becoming extinct every single day. Erosion of fertile topsoil, deforestation of our great forests, toxic air pollution, loss of insects and wildlife, the acidification of our oceans. These are all disastrous trends being accelerated by a way of life that we, here in our financially fortunate part of the world, see as our right to simply carry on. Our house is falling apart, and our leaders need to start acting accordingly, because at the moment they are not. If our house was falling apart, our leaders wouldn't go on like you do today. You would change almost every part of your behavior, as you do in an emergency. If our house was falling apart, you wouldn't hold 3 emergency Brexit summits and no emergency summit regarding the breakdown of the climate and environment. EU elections are coming up soon, and many of us who will be affected the most by this crisis, people like me, are not allowed to vote. Nor are we in a position to shape the decisions of business, politics, engineering, media, education, or science. Because the time it takes for us to educate ourselves to do that simply does no longer exist. And that is why millions of children are taking it to the streets, school striking for the climate to create attention for the climate crisis. You need to listen to us, we who cannot vote. You need to vote for us, for your children and grandchildren. What we are doing now can soon no longer be undone. In this election, you vote for the future living conditions for humankind. And though the politics needed do not exist today, some alternatives are certainly less worse than others. And I have read that some parties do not even want me standing here today because they so desperately do not want to talk about climate breakdown. To do your best is no longer good enough. We must all do the seemingly possible. And it's okay if you refuse to listen to me. I am, after all, just a 16-year-old schoolgirl from Sweden. But you cannot ignore the scientists or the science or the millions of school striking children who are school striking for the right to a future. I beg you, please do not fail on this.
So it's a message from our children, but through our children, which is, if anything is held dear, is it not the children? But if you can be in touch with this message, with this child who's given up her life to get this message out, to the sacrifice she's made, to the authority that she's speaking from, and also the grief and anguish of what's being lost. She's holding the peril, and she's taking action where there's no possibility of a favorable outcome, or no certainty of a favorable outcome. If that's not the Gita embodied, that's the Gita embodied. All right, so just feel into this and know that we're going to do what we can do in the domain of consciousness to eject the force that is now available on the planet, this truth consciousness, this Sat force, as part of our act of consciousness tonight. So we're going to do a technique in order to bring forward the part of ourselves, which is our middle part of our body, our third chakra, which is the meeting point between the forces that come from the Asat, the darkness, and the forces that come from the Sat, the light, and then hold them within us in a practice where we use consciously breathe in order to hold them intentionally. And then in the releasing of them, that releasing of that energetic contradiction will come forward as a channel, a door opening for that thought force to come into the collective atmosphere. So that's the first part of the technique. The second part of the technique, when we finish doing the technique itself consists of a chant, a mantra, which we will do 9 times, and then a practice, which we will do for 10 minutes. In the remaining time, I invite you to imagine the globe below you, to ascend above and to imagine the globe below you, and to send this force of truth consciousness into the world in whatever way is there for you. Be it in the areas of obstructions that are resisting and opposing, be it in nature or the material quantum of the atmosphere that is overburdened with the pollutant and the distortion of mankind's byproducts, or into individual people. So that's the instructions for the World Peace Meditations, and that's what we're going to be doing each time we do a World Peace Meditation all together.
I don't have my thing, so you can repeat. Does anyone know who is in the debates tonight? Any of the individuals who are up? The Democratic candidate.
There are Democratic candidates that are debating tonight.
Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden,
and Sanders. Yeah.
Is she tonight?
Yeah. So
there's 10 tonight.
Yeah, including
Is Mayor
Pete.
too?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So there is one place you could put attention. Let it catch attention. Let it be like a fire. Okay, so the technique is a mantra. We'll be listening to the people. They have the mantra before them or available to them. So if you can access this, then please do now. If you can't, then follow along as best you can. This is how I learned how to chant Sanskrit, faking it till I made it. The mantra is Om Namo Hiranagarbhaya Satchitananda Murtaye Satya Jyoti Swarupaya Tat Purushaya Namaha Tat Purushaya Namaha Tat Purushaya Namaha. Shravananda will chant it in the rhythm that he wants, that he feels is the most effective. We'll listen to that 9 times, and then we'll do the technique. The technique is Om Tat Sat Om. You inhale as you it's all done silently. You're thinking Om as you inhale. As you're breathing in the collective air into your individual body, you're thinking Tat Sat when the air gets to your 3rd chakra, to the middle of your body, where the Sat and the Asa meet. When it gets there, you hold your breath for as long as you can. And then you release your breath, thinking Om again, but this time heading it up, out to the crown, into the collective atmosphere. So you're bringing in the air and the prana, the field of energy of which we all draw our strength from, holding our breath, thinking Tat Sat, and then exhaling, mingling our individual breath and the energy we evoke into the collective field of air and prana, the energy field. We'll do that. All of us will do it. I'll sound that particular technique out aloud, setting the rhythm, and then we will begin. I'll ring the bell, and then we'll do it for 10 minutes silently, just focusing on the technique. I'll ring the bell when it's finished, and then the rest of the time will be, you can use the technique that helps you, but the idea of ascending with your exhale, going up ahead so you can look down on the entire planet, and then direct your attention to wherever you feel, be it the democratic debate, be it the earth itself, be it a part of the world. You may not be doing the direction, but the direction will show up for you, whatever you feel is appropriate. Okay, so let's go ahead with Sri Atmananda chanting the technique.
Om Namo Hiranyagarbhaya Satchidanandamurtaye Satyajyoti Swarupaya Tatpurushaya Te Namaha Tatpurushaya Te Namaha Tatpurushaya Te Namaha. Om Namo Hiranyagarbhaya Satchidanandamurtaye Satyajyoti Swarupaya Tatpurushaya Te Namaha Tatpurushaya Te Namaha Tatpurushaya Te Namaha. Om Namo Hiranyagarbhaya Satchidanandamurtaye Satyajyoti Swarupaya Tatpurushaya Te Namaha Tatpurushaya Te Namaha Tatpurushaya Te Namaha. ॐ नमो हिरण्यगर्भाय सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये सत्यज्योतिस्वरूपाय तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः ॐ नमो हिरण्यगर्भाय सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये सत्यज्योतिस्वरूपाय तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः ॐ नमो हिरण्यगर्भाय सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये सत्यज्योतिस्वरूपाय तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः ॐ नमो हिरण्यगर्भाय सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये सत्यज्योतिस्वरूपाय तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः ॐ नमो हिरण्यगर्भाय सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये सत्यज्योतिस्वरूपाय तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः ॐ नमो हिरण्यगर्भाय सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये सत्यज्योतिस्वरूपाय तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः तत्पुरुषाय ते नमः
Om Tat Sat. Om. Om Tat Sat. Om. Om Tat Sat. Om. Now we begin the silent sitting. You can continue to use the technique if it helps you. If you can visualize the earth and direct your attention to the planet or to a location, then do so. If you're not good at visualization, then be in the silence and stillness. And direct the attention to the world in whatever way you can. Let us begin. Hari Om Dhat Sat. Hari Om Dhat Sat. Hari Om Dhat Sat Shri. All glory to the Supreme. May truth manifest. And we would appreciate if those of you who participated would share your experience. It could be just a brief summary and send it to newdharma@gmail.com. Thank you. Good night.